Celtic have missed out on a midfielder they had been tracking all summer after he confirmed his move elsewhere. We have also got heartbreaking news on Jota's recovery that could have huge consequences for the transfer window. A Celtic target who just put in a stunning World Cup display against Argentina, a £5 million signing who might finally be getting a real chance, and a look at why Joe Hart's continued praise for this club is worth more than people realise. Loads to get into. Let's go. But first, make sure you like this video and subscribe to the channel for more Celtic content. Alfie Devine has confirmed his permanent move to Preston North End, ending Celtic's hopes of signing the Tottenham midfielder this summer. Devine had been on Martin O'Neill's radar for much of the summer. O'Neill and Mark Fotheringham attended a championship match at Deepdale in person to watch him, which told you everything about the level of genuine interest from Celtic. The 21-year-old had 8 goals and 6 assists during his loan spell at Preston last season, registering those numbers from central midfield in a competitive second division in England. That kind of output from a player of his age and profile is exactly what Celtic needed. Preston had held an option to buy Devine as part of the original loan agreement. When that deadline came and went without a deal being completed, speculation grew rapidly that Celtic might be able to move in. Devine's agent has strong links to the Celtic camp, and reports suggested that connection gave the club a real advantage in the race. In the end, it was not enough. Devine confirmed the Preston move via Instagram this morning with a post that included the message, "Don't believe everything you read." That final line was clearly aimed at the speculation around a Celtic move and made plain that he was always likely to stay in Lancashire if the numbers could be agreed. For Celtic, it is another summer miss in a window that has still only produced Camilo Duran as an official arrival. Midfield remains an area of genuine need with Arne Engels expected to depart, Reo Hatate's future still unclear, and the squad thin in that area going into Champions League qualifiers. O'Neill will need to look elsewhere. The window is open and time is moving. Now for the main story, as serious concerns have emerged today about the injury situation surrounding Jota, with reports suggesting the Celtic winger may not be available until November at the earliest, and the club now being urged to plan as if he will not feature this season. Jota suffered an ACL injury at Tannadice in April 2025 during a Scottish Premiership match against Dundee United. What was initially projected to be an 8 to 9 month recovery has turned into something far longer and far more complicated. A secondary meniscus issue required a further procedure, and his recovery has been repeatedly set back. He is currently in Portugal undertaking rehabilitation work. O'Neill, speaking after the Scottish Cup final in May, said he could not see Jota being available for the start of the season, and added, "I'd be hoping maybe around Halloween, maybe earlier." The reports circulating today suggest the situation may be even worse than that, with some sources indicating November as the realistic timeline. If accurate, Jota would have been out for over 18 months by the time he returned, which would be close to 2 full years of his career lost. The writer at the Celtic blog, James Forrest, addressed this directly, and the message was clear. Forrest wrote that if the reports are true, Celtic must now operate under the assumption that Jota may not feature in any meaningful way during the 2026-27 campaign. He argued that crossing fingers and hoping is not good enough. Celtic need to plan for the worst, act accordingly in the transfer market, and not leave the squad short while waiting for a recovery that may not arrive on schedule. That is a painful reality. Jota came back to Celtic last January because he loves this club. He chose to come home when he had other options, which says everything about what Parkhead means to him. For an injury like this to threaten that story is genuinely awful. But Forrest is right. Caring about a player and being clear-eyed about planning are not mutually exclusive. Celtic cannot wait. The wide positions in this squad are light, especially with Maida's future still unresolved and Devine now gone to Preston. More needs to come in. The board and the manager need to act. In other news, Haisim Hassan delivered one of the World Cup performances of the tournament last night as Egypt pushed Argentina all the way in a thrilling round of 16 clash in Atlanta. Egypt led 2-0 at one point against Argentina, against the holders, against Lionel Messi. And Hassan was central to everything good that Egypt produced on the night. He was a constant menace down the right-hand side, constantly running at defenders, winning fouls, and giving the Argentine backline real problems throughout. His contribution included an assist for the second goal as he helped engineer what looked briefly like one of the biggest upsets the tournament had seen. Argentina hit back with 3 late goals to win 3-2 and advance, but the performance from Hassan was one that the wider football world noticed. Celtic are reported to have submitted a bid of around £4 million for the 24-year-old French-born winger who plays his club football at Real Oviedo in Spain. The complication is clear. Hassan's value will only have risen after last night. Before the World Cup, the release clause situation and Real Oviedo's financial structure were already making a deal complicated. Now, with multiple clubs across Europe likely to be watching the footage from last night's game, Celtic will have to move faster and potentially pay more if they want to bring him to Glasgow. Hassan has a contract at Oviedo until the summer of 2027. He registered just 3 assists in the La Liga season as the club were relegated. But those numbers do not tell the whole story. In other news, there is a case being made today that Michel-Ange Balikwisha deserves a genuine chance at Celtic this pre-season, and it is a case that is hard to dismiss. Balikwisha played the first 45 minutes of Tuesday's 1-1 draw with Shelbourne at Tolka Park. He did not set the world alight, but then again it was a fitness exercise rather than a statement performance, and nobody else in a green shirt exactly shone either. The argument for giving him a proper chance rests on a simple truth. In 14 appearances last season, Balikwisha was almost never played in his natural position. He is a left-sided attacker. The 1 assist he registered in a Celtic shirt came when he was used on the left, delivering a cross that Dazen Maida finished in a win over Motherwell. And yet across 3 different managers, he was repeatedly asked to play wide, right or centrally, positions that do not suit what he does naturally. He came from Royal Antwerp, where in 145 appearances he scored 30 goals and contributed 17 assists, playing in both the Champions League and Europa League. That is not a profile that belongs to a bad footballer. It belongs to someone who was either bought for the wrong system, deployed in the wrong position, or simply arrived at the worst possible moment when the club around him was falling apart. He is 25 years old, under contract to 2030, and Martin O'Neill has spoken positively about him. This pre-season may be his one genuine window to show what he can do on his own terms, in his own position. If he cannot take that chance, then the door closes. But it has not closed yet, and with Jota's situation now deteriorating, Celtic need every wide option available to them. Lastly, Joe Hart continues to do something quietly remarkable for Celtic, and it is worth taking a moment to recognise it. Hart retired from playing after his time at Parkhead under Ange Postecoglou in 2023. He won the league title and contributed to one of the most exciting periods of football the club has produced in modern times. Since then, he has moved into media work, appearing regularly on television as a pundit and analyst. And every time Celtic comes up, he speaks about the club with genuine warmth and real pride, not in a scripted way, not in the way of an ambassador reading from a brief. He talks about Celtic the way someone does when a place has genuinely changed them. The point being made today in the Celtic blog is a powerful one. Celtic did not just sign a goalkeeper when they brought in Joe Hart. They brought in a person whose reputation, professionalism, and leadership transformed the environment around him. And even now, 3 years after his last game in green and white, he is still doing promotional work for this club every time he sits down in a television studio. That kind of loyalty and affection cannot be bought. That's all the latest Celtic news for today. Make sure to hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't already, and drop a comment below with your thoughts. I'll see you in the next one. Hail, hail.